Hello, welcome back to Hazel Jane Tarot. And today we are going to talk about my top 5 tarot decks new to me in 2021. So I'm a bit late to getting this filmed, but better late than never. I was initially going to do a VR to Simon at the Hermit's Cave, who'd done his top 10 new 2021 decks, but I decided to make it a bit harder for myself and make it a top 5 because if I did 10, it would be nearly all the decks I got this year. Tarot, I think I got about 14 or 15 decks. So if you want to see everything that I got this year in Tarot and Oracle, I will link the videos below because I did 2 videos of like the first 6 months and then the second half of the year of all my new decks. So you can check that out if you want below if you haven't seen that already. Plus, of course, I've just filmed my whole deck collection, so you might be sick looking at all my decks. But anyway, here are my top 5 picks for 2021. So to make it possible to choose, I did decide to focus on decks that I were new and I also used them, because there are a few decks that were brand new to me, like the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelation Edition, which I never touched in 2021, and therefore I haven't included it, controversially, even though it's, stunningly beautiful. But I haven't included it because I didn't really use it. So let's have a look at the ones I did use that were new to me. So this is the Spirit, or the Animal Woman. It's the Story Medicine Tarot Animal Woman deck. So this was new to me in 2021. I already have the other Story Medicine Tarot, and this is by Jessica Zinchuk. Now, well, it looks like some of them are upside down. Anyway, just a warning before I show you the cards, there's some nudity in these cards. So when I was trying to pick, this is kind of like the number 5 slot, although they're not really in order. There were a few, there's so many beautiful decks that I got this year, and I ended up going for this as one of my top 5 picks because I have used it for some really meaningful healing type readings, and I find this deck works really well in a mind, body, spirit 3 or 6 card spread, because the messages really seem to be very tuned into both sort of physical and mental wellness. So obviously it's a very female-centered deck, and it really just depicts this one woman who's the creator throughout the deck. And I relate, to the image of this woman, so it works pretty well as a deck for me. So I still haven't have a lot of a journey to go with this deck. It's one that certainly I have worked with a bit, but not a lot. So I'm working with it at the minute in the month of January for that sort of 3-card body, mind, spirit type reading. So that's the Story Medicine Tarot Animal Woman. This is a deck that Dawn Michelle mentioned in a video I was just watching about her decks she was planning to work with in 2022. And she mentioned that Jessica Zinchuk has brought out a couple of other decks. And I am not planning to get the other couple that Jessica has created. I think the 2 Story Medicine decks that I've got are going to do me for now anyway. So my second deck of 2021, I think, is going to have to be Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian. So this is a deck I got quite late in the year. So again, I haven't worked with it lots and lots, but I have used it. The art is absolutely beautiful. I find it a bit stiff to shuffle. The cardstock's quite thick and stiff, but it is, I'm breaking it in. I'm riffling it as hard as I can to try to break it in. But the art's beautiful, and I like the new perspectives that Anna Turian has given on some of these cards. I find this a very wintry deck, I think maybe the colour scheme, and I worked with it over the winter solstice by candlelight, and it was just perfect for that scenario. So I'm planning to continue working with it through the sort of winter months, and then I might retire it until next winter. But I don't normally work with my decks seasonally. I know other readers do, and I kind of like that idea of putting decks in a rotation, so I might try that out. But look at that head in the clouds. Beautiful. So the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian, definitely in my top 5. So, another new deck in 2021 that I used quite a lot is the Mysteries of Mary Tarot. And this is by Hettienne Grobler. And her website is Her Grace Sacred Art, I think. So this is quite an expensive deck. And the idea is that each of these images was a little 3-dimensional shrine to Mary that was created by Hettienne. And then she's photographed it for the deck. And they were made sort of to correspond with each of the suits. But you can see the suits have been renamed. Distaff, roses. And even after using it for quite a while, I still find it confusing to remember which suit is which. It doesn't read exactly like a tarot deck to me. It maybe reads a little more in an oracle style. I tend to use it as single card pulls rather than in spreads, although I'm sure it would work in spreads if I tried. But it's very much for me has been about thinking about Mary and sort of a spiritual type of reading rather than any kind of divinatory reading. Although I remember saying at the time, I started using it in May. You know, May is the month of Mary. And used it sort of May, June, July, that sort of time period for a nightly card pull. And I would read the little guidebook to go with each card. But sometimes I noticed a pattern of certain cards coming up when certain people had a significant role in my day. And I thought, oh, maybe there's more of a divinatory aspect to this deck than I had thought. So this is a deck I will certainly be coming back to, probably not until May again, but it's one that I enjoyed working with this year, and I'm glad that I can say that I did because it was quite expensive. So I'm glad that I have been enjoying using it. Number 2 of my new to me tarot decks of 2021 is the Celtic Wisdom Tarot by Caitlin Matthews with illustrations by Olivia Rayner. Now, the Celtic Wisdom, it comes in this horrible box. I don't know if you can see. Like the cards are double stacked in this little sleeve, and then you have a hardback guidebook. So this is a deck I got in a sort of I went through a little bit of a frenzy of trying to collect out of print Celtic themed decks earlier in the year. This is the one of the decks that I got that I've worked with the most, and I really, really like the art in this deck. So again, the suits have been renamed. So we have the suit of battle, which is the swords, the suit of skill, the suit of art, and each of the cards have been renamed, like so combat of art, warrior of art, revelation of knowledge. You know, they're quite, the renaming is quite complex. And again, a little like the last deck, I'm not 100% like that, I haven't learned them off very securely yet. So when I was working with it, I would have to remind myself, oh, art, judgment of art, that's, you know, which suit is that? And even now I'm not, because you can see, you don't see cups and staffs and stuff in each card. So how it corresponds with the tarot. I did find the correspondences in the guidebook, the little story in the guidebook it didn't always totally chime for me with the tarot meaning given, and I have a bit more deeper work to do with this deck to figure all that out for myself. The courts are lovely, and the major arcana are lovely. So like they're the two. The High Priestess is the guardian. Let's see if I can find any more majors without taking out the other half of the deck. So there's the Hierophant. Number 5 is the Rememberer. So each of these tells a story from mostly Irish and Welsh mythology. So it's a really nice kind of learning deck. So Justice is the balancer. It's a nice learning deck for getting, trying to, you know, dive into Celtic mythology and stories and so on. So this is a lovely deck, which I will be working with more, but I did use quite a bit this year when I got it. And surprise, surprise, my number 1 new to me deck of 2021 is the Wheel of the Year Tarot. And I'm laughing because it is a mass market deck. It is not new out this year. I bought it in a you know, our local esoteric shop just to buy something on a day that it was actually the 1st of May that I was there. So May Day or Beltana. And I made this little box for it. I bought this box in a sort of cheap bookshop and painted it. So this was only about £2, and then I painted it with my daughter's paints to match with the back design. And I don't know. Initially, I thought I wasn't going to like this deck because it's kind of got this sort of comic book fantasy art vibe to it. Like, look at the muscles. Everybody's kind of a bit fantasy perfect. But I found, well, first of all, I could riffle shuffle it so easy, and my riffle shuffling has definitely improved through 2021. I also find that I really loved the way the colours are done through the suits. So you can see wands are all kind of orangey, that when you go into like the swords, they're all kind of bluish, and then there's like a, you know, so a different colour tone through each suit. The blues through the cups and so on. So when you sit the whole suit out together, you can really see the seasonal, because they've assigned a season, you know, for the turn of the wheel of the year. There's a season assigned to each of the minor suits. And then look, the Wheel of Fortune we have is just a wheel, you know, with winter and spring and summer and autumn. And I just really like the seasonal vibes to it. You know, so on paper, this is not a deck that I would love. Because most of the decks I really like are more contemporary, they're more real world based, they're more diverse than this. And this really is quite sort of, it has that, like the Anna Kay Tarot, it has that sort of white European storybook feel to it, like a book of fairy tales or something. But, you know, with some more sort of computer game, comic book nudity and women's bodies and so on, which is not what I would think that I would like. But I just have used this deck a lot. I did a lot of readings with it. I really enjoyed reading with it. It was really clear to read with. So when I was thinking about, like, let's be honest, what is the deck that I have enjoyed working with the most of the new to me in 2021 decks, and this was my choice. So it'll be interesting to watch this back again later and see if I still agree with myself. I did watch back my favourites from 2020, my new favourite tarot decks from 2020. And what was really intriguing to me was that most of the decks I picked out as my favourites were not decks that got much of a look in 2021. So I decided this year, rather than picking decks that were new and relatively unused, I would pick ones that I had used a little bit more. So yes, anyway, so thank you for watching my top 5, and if you were surprised by any of my picks, or if you liked any of my choices, or you want to share your top 5, or if you've done a video of your top tarot of 2021 and you want to leave, let me know in the comments. I will go over and watch it because I really enjoy these types of videos. So anyway, I'm also filming this just on the day when I have hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And that was such an exciting development today. So thank you everybody who has subscribed and been watching my channel over the past year. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you, and I'll see you again soon.